I'm American.
Oh, sorry. That's a fjøsnisse. I guess you can call it a barn elf.
Are they real?
What do you mean?
Like, do they exist?
Yes.
You're listening to Fun with Horror with your hosts, Scotty and Andrew.
Hello, I'm Scotty.
And I'm Stanley.
And I'm Alex.
Yes.
And welcome to episode number 109 of Fun with Horror. It's usually the movie review podcast in which two long-distance best friends take turns giving each other movies to watch and discuss, but Andrew is very busy right now. So I have the honor of being joined by the Gory Gays themselves, Alex and Stanley. Hello, guys.
What?
How's it going?
Yes.
It's going great. It's going great. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. You
It's
beat
good
me
to
to
hear.
it.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. I love this.
Oh, God. Thanks for having us.
Yep, we're on the same boat.
Yeah. This is our first co-hosting gig as the Gory Gay. So this is a lot of fun. Thank you.
Yes. Of course, everybody out there today, Christmas Day, both the Gory Gays and Fun with Horror are releasing a new episode. So this episode is out today. And if you go over to the Gory Gays podcast, you can hear them talk about Black Christmas 1974.
Absolutely. Yes. Go visit us too. But also listen to this because this movie is a
Make it a double feature.
It's a good double feature. Christmas movies are a dime a dozen, and I think that these are both a good combination.
Well, we are going to talk about There's Something in the Barn. But before we do, Alex, this is your first time on Fun with Horror.
Please be easy on me.
Will you be easy on us? Because we're going to ask you like a few questions, because these are things I love to know about people. So, number one, how did you get into horror and what made you fall in love with it?
How did I get into horror? So honestly, I'm still learning it, and it's because it's a learning process with Stanley. Ever since I actually met him, I've grown more fonder of horror movies. I thought I knew horror. I actually didn't know shit. I'm starting to see a lot more movies that are more like gory than the basic ones that I thought I had explored as horror movies myself. Technically, what got me into horror was that I kind of liked the sense of somebody else was having it worse than I am in a horror movie, so my reality wasn't that bad. So it was always like, there's always a worse situation.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is there a movie that like kind of got you into it?
To me, no, it would just be The Exorcist, honestly, is my only movie that I highly considered horror, and I watched it over and over for so many years that I learned everything about it and broke it down as not a scary movie anymore, just as how special the movie was actually made.
Which would bring me to my second question, which is, what is your favorite horror movie of all time?
Yes.
Now, that also may answer the third question, because the third question is something I love asking people. What scares you the most in horror movies? Not in life itself, but in horror movies. What really gets to you?
Truthfully, the chase, like the run and the chase, it used to like freak me out to like, you know, like horror movies that started with like road trips and stuff like that really freaked me out because it was something that I enjoyed doing, as being in the road. And I actually like driving through deserts and secluded places like that. So it would freak me out so bad. But then when I started learning more about like possession and stuff like that, that really freaked me out. And that's where I'm at now, because I don't want to sleep next to somebody and wake up and they're like literally twisted and possessed. That freaked me out in a reality. Everything is real in horror, honestly. Like everything that happens, I think can actually happen in real life. But that just freaks me out because I do not want to wake up to somebody next to somebody like that.
Easily persuaded.
Yeah.
So, okay, you actually, so we talked about this, Andrew and I talked about this when we recently did The Exorcist. I was talking about a friend of mine who does not like watching possession movies because she believes that possession is real. And I've heard you, I think on your very first episode, talk about you believe the same thing. So does it get to you the same way? But you enjoy watching it.
I enjoy watching it. Yes, I do. In all reality, it kind of gives me like that, like, you know, like when you used to like watch Carrie and like you just feel like that power, like, oh my gosh, I kind of want to get back at the school myself. I kind of started getting like that feeling of, you know what, I kind of like The Conjuring was one of my favorite movies as well, the first one, because of how just the introduction of there's demons, but then there's a bigger power than demonic forces, you know, that can literally control that. And that was kind of cool to me.
Yeah, I love The Conjuring.
Yeah.
I think Conjuring maybe, I don't know, maybe my second favorite possession movie.
Yeah. For me too. It's that witch just freaks me out so bad.
Yeah.
Like that movie.
What about you? Do you like that movie, Stanley?
I do. I like the second one better than the first one.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I'm probably like a minor crowd, and a lot of people tend to really like the third one too, and I do not like the third one.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh wait, the third one is The Devil Made Me Do It, right?
Oh, yeah.
That was actually, I think, one of our first 5 episodes or something.
I actually like the way that movie's filmed. Like the aesthetic of the movie is so good to me.
I mean, they all look good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they all look good, but it's just not. I just thought the third one was so boring. I think the second one was scary though.
Yeah.
I actually, I think I said it back then, but I did like the third one. I didn't think it compared at all to the first 2 Conjuring movies, but I did think the third one was a well done movie.
It's out of place. I just felt like it was kind of out of place, and it didn't feel like it was like a story that was for the Warrens. I think that was my problem with it. I felt like they just kind of like specifically wrote something and then like gave it a Conjuring title, kind of like a Hellraiser sequel, you know, down the line.
But it was actually a true story that did involve the Warrens. It was just
weird. It just didn't feel like it. It felt
objects all like coincide with the Warrens.
Yeah.
But anyway, our movie today, let's move on to that, is not about possession at all. So, without further ado, there's something in the barn.
Okay, so what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, what are you going to do about it? I mean, kids will be kids, right?
Yeah.
No, I mean, what are you going to do about it?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to swipe this area for fingerprints, and then I'll call the forensics, and... Oh, I'm just kidding. I will look into it, though.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay, so for this episode, we are doing There's Something in the Barn. It was directed by Magnus Martens. It was written by Aleksander Kirkwood Brown, and it stars Martin Starr, Amrita Acharia, Kiran, Shah, Towns Bunner, or Bunner. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. I'm sorry. Zoe Winther-Hansen, and then a couple of Henriette Steenstrup and Calle Hellevang Larsen.
Bless you.
I hope that's, well, we'll see. But yeah, so before we get into it, just everybody out there, we are about to talk in depth and spoil There's Something in the Barn. So if you haven't seen it, this is your warning. Okay, here we go. Alex.
Yes.
Once again, the spotlight is on you. This is your first time on Fun with Horror, which means you get the honor of doing the 3-minute recap.
Do I get the shirt? I'm just kidding.
Sure. But no, I mean, in all seriousness, though, there is a barn elf outside of your apartment right now. And if you go over 3 minutes, it will come inside and run you over with a snow sled.
Absolutely not. That will not happen tonight.
Okay, so whenever you're ready, you just go ahead and start.
I got you for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of heat time.
So here we have an American family that inherits a country farmhouse from a deceased uncle. Move into the house where they begin to idealize on converting this barn into an Airbnb. When son Lucas discovers that son Lucas discovers that there's something in the barn. Tells the family, but nobody believes him. The following morning, the family goes into town where the locals start asking questions about the house, making them believe that the house might be haunted.
Stanley, you go. Pick it up.
Oh gosh. Okay, so he goes into the barn and he finds out that there's an elf in the barn, basically, and he goes back to his family and warns them that there is something in the barn, but the family, okay, there you go.
The following morning, the family does go into town, where the locals do start asking questions. This is where I got lost, about the property, almost assuming that the property is haunted. The family ignores and continues with the Airbnb idea. Mom suggests that the family throws a party in the house. In the barn. Son Lucas learns in town that a little background about the elf that resides in the barn and the rules about keeping the elf happy, but the party goes against all the rules, making the elf angry. He then starts being resentful towards the family, making little appearances here and there, and even pushing the dad down the stairs. Lucas then begins to tell everyone the elf is angry, and Tor, which is like, I don't even know who he is. Tor, he will need to make porridge on Christmas Eve and deliver to the barn for the elf, and this will ensure future peace between the humans and the elves. At this point, we learn the history of the property as the dad begins to tell the mom that the uncle died, falling from the second floor of the barn, lighting himself on the. This is very stressful. The fire. In reality, the uncle wanted to burn, and I'm sweating like literally balls over here. Wanting to burn down the barn because the bad elves were snapping the necks of the cows. And this we learned because when the kid went into town, he learned this fact. Anyways, it is now Christmas Eve, and Lucas makes the porridge. When Dad accidentally eats the porridge, Lucas is left with serving lutefisk, a Norwegian fish plate that pairs well with butter, kind of gross, not porridge. The elf becomes angry, extremely angry. We see his eye change completely black. He then hollers like this banshee type scream, waking up all the other elves. They get really angry at the family. Then they come after the family. They only have one mission, literally, to kill this family, destroy this family. Even tension begins to build between the family when it all breaks loose. The family working together in survival mode. The elves realizing that the other elves really want to hurt this family, which is the main elf. He starts to help the family and starts to fight the other elves back. So they all kind of get together and they all kind of team up and they just burn the barn down with every single thing in it, which includes all the bad elves, and the good elf, kind of, which was the main elf, stays with the family, and now they give him a nice future home to live in. Peace is restored and everybody's happy. Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry I got lost there. This was very stressful, super like I couldn't get it. I lost it and I just could not control it. What the hell happened? This is super stressful. 3 minutes is horrible.
I think you did great.
3 minutes is horrible.
I love that. Everybody gets so stressed out doing it.
Hey, dude, I'm so like, okay, it's over. It's really good, though. It's a good exercise, so I feel really good now. So stress relief is gone. It's done.
There you go. And you came in just under 3 minutes.
Oh, gosh. Goodness gracious.
So I've sent the barn elf back to Norway. You're fine.
Wow.
But let's get into it. Stanley, you can start us off. What did you think of There's Something in the Barn?
What did I think? You know what? I enjoyed it. I watched it twice, once for enjoyment, potential enjoyment, and then the second time to jot some things down. I enjoyed it more the second time. The first time I didn't love it. You know what I mean? I think I just had my run of the horror comedy thing over the last few weeks, just with like the movies that we've been talking about ourselves. But I think the second time I found a little bit more of some sort of like a Christmas enchantment type of feeling with it that I kind of found endearing. I don't know. I didn't really think it was a scary film. You know what I mean? And I know we'll get into all that later, but I did like it. I liked it. I thought it was fine.
Okay. Alex?
You know what? I like those type of movies where like it's about inheriting like these homes where it's like a mystery and type of stuff like that. Plus the movie had like really like a lot of Christmas in it.
Yeah.
It was really good, the filming. I liked it a lot.
Okay. Well, I gotta say, Stanley, this is interesting because I had kind of the opposite experience as you.
Okay.
I didn't like it as much the second time as I did the first time. I think it's a good movie. I think it's cute, but I think it overstays its welcome a little bit. I think it's a little bit too long, and we'll get into that. But that's basically it. I think it's a little too long. I think some of the comedy doesn't really land very well.
agree on that. I think that they could have. I think they tried a little hard on some of the like on some certain dialogue, and there's some stuff that was a little too on the nose. But yeah, no, I agree with you.
Did you guys? Okay, so one of the thoughts that I had watching this movie was very interesting. Did you guys think at all that the beginning, at least, of this movie would have worked as a sequel to National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation?
You know what? I don't know if I thought that necessarily, but I did think that this movie is kind of a companion piece to that movie. Like if you take like a lot of the elf silliness out, a lot of the elf silliness out of the way, it kind of has like a lot of that National Lampoon humor in it, which I thought was kind of fun. But there were also parts where it just didn't feel appropriate. I don't know. Like I get confused in this subgenre. I get confused. And I think the writers also do too, because I don't know if they actually know exactly what they're going for. Yeah, I don't know. To answer your question, yes and no.
But what about you, Alex? Did you think about National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation at all?
I thought about National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. What is it? The second, not Christmas Vacation, but the Family Vacation. The first movie that they did, but when they did the second part to that,
European Vacation?
No, not European Vacation. There's the newer movie,
Vegas Vacation.
Yes, there's like the newest one where it's the son now that has his family on the road trip.
Oh, okay, like the the reboot.
Because as soon as the movie starts and they're on the road, literally, and the music comes on, it reminded me so much of the tone of those movies. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching this movie and thinking it's a father, a mother, and two kids, even though she's a stepmom. And I was thinking that if you just replaced the two adults with Chevy Chase and Beverly D'Angelo, you'd have a vacation movie, but then it turns into like a whole different movie with the elf and everything.
I absolutely agree, because both of the kids were in dislike with everything the dad wanted to do, and all the dad was just wanted to do, like, family things. Let's watch the Northern Lights. Let's see this. Let's do that. And nothing. They weren't just having it. They weren't having it.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of Martin Starr as the dad?
I like him, and it's funny because I couldn't place him with I couldn't place where he was from at all. Then I found out he was from Freaks and Geeks, and then I realized he was in Knocked Up. After the movie was over, and I was looking him up, and I was like, oh yeah, that guy. He had one of those faces where I thought he was in everything else but those things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really interesting. But also, I feel like he's the only American in the cast.
Maybe was the kid, his boy? Yeah, Lucas. He's got a.
I believe everybody in the cast was local from Norway's. They were locals from Norway, besides him.
And the elf. The elf is Kiran Shah, who I believe is New Zealandish. I forget.
Ever seen a movie called Gothic?
No.
From the late 80s. He is on the cover of that movie. He played.
Oh!
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I know that cover. I've never seen the movie, but I remember that cover, and he's like the little devil guy at the bottom of the cover.
I recognized his face immediately when I first saw him, and I was just like, why do I know this guy's face? And then I looked him up and saw that cover, and I was like, of course. That's funny, but I never saw the movie either.
You recognized him from the inside the elf makeup, because the elf makeup was really good.
The makeup's great, but I just recognized this. I know nobody can see me, but I just recognized this.
Like his eyes. Yeah. Stanley is giving the universal sign language for my eyes.
Binoculars. But for everybody who's listening, just Google the Gothic cover and you'll see it. It has he has a very striking gaze.
Did you guys see Legend with Tom Cruise?
When I was a kid.
I don't remember that.
He's also in that. And then he was also, I believe it was Elijah's body double for Lord of the Rings.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah. That's an interesting fact.
That's really cool.
Yeah, he probably did multiple Hobbits, but I believe that mostly he was Elijah Wood's double for the wide shots where the Hobbits are supposed to be small. That was Kiran Shah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that's where I knew him from, and I didn't recognize him right away. But as soon as I looked up IMDb, just like you, like the eyes, I was like, yes, that's
That's so fun. I don't think I've ever seen a Lord of the Rings film all the way through.
What?
I know it's a sin. I know people really love those films.
Top 5, Stanley's top 5 ever.
You see, and you're not the first person that has said that to me. So I need to get it together. Have you seen those?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm behind.
So I'm
and you can only watch the extended versions.
Yeah.
Touche.
But anyway, yeah, Martin Starr. I like him. Hey, guys, stop it, cats. Bowie, stop. Come here. My cats are going crazy. Sorry. But as we were talking about Martin Starr, so here's what I wanted to say. I like him a lot, but I felt his character was like way too annoying to me.
Okay.
I honestly started to not like his character. And I don't think I ever got it back by the end of the movie. I just did not like Bill.
I can understand that. Yeah, I didn't really like a lot of the characters. I don't think it was just Bill. I don't think a lot of the characters were necessarily written all that well. Or
he kind of always carries that dry, sarcastic thing about him, though, like this guy. So he kind of brought it here, but in a dad mode. Kind of fit him.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, he's got that sarcastic charm type of thing that he uses quite often from what I've seen. I don't know a lot of his work.
I mean, that's true. But then, like, the whole part with the stepmom, Carol, and the daughter acting out, and he just would not do anything about it. And then when he gets kicked down the stairs, then the policewoman shows up, Liv, and she says that, oh, it must have been a fox. And then he just automatically believes her.
Oh, yeah.
Even though he got literally kicked down the stairs and like his leg kicked out from under him and stuff. So
it's weird that you mentioned that part because the first time we watched it, I did not remember that part at all. Or the second time we watched it, that part was completely new to me. I completely blacked out that part because I was like, wait, I don't remember the dad having an interaction with the elf initially at all before. I mean, I remember the barrel part and I remember everything after the fact, but I don't remember that part. But yeah, he's kind of a wet rag of a character, I suppose. And I do like Carol, though. I think she looks a lot like Anna de Armas.
Yeah. I feel like he's just like trying to protect the history of the property. So he's like trying to, he's just doing things to where they won't ask questions or raise questions. So he just kind of gives into, oh yeah, the easiest way out. Oh yeah, no, it wasn't that. It was this. Yes, it was a fox.
Oh, I didn't consider that.
Yeah. So I feel it's just a way of deterring his family from asking questions because he inherited the property. So he's like, I'm not going to give it up.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
That's also a good point. Yeah, because I was also thinking like, yeah, he's giving up way too easy, and and this is such a funny commentary on the way that America is perceived as so dumb. It's like the Norwegian people are like, none of us carry guns. Like, we're not walking around just shooting people in the face. Why would we be and time again throughout the film, like they're just commenting on how American society is so stupid. I had a point to this.
Well, that's what I told you the first time I watched this movie. I was actually, that's what I said. I was just like, I feel like it was a little too Home Alone and something else I said. And then I said, I feel like it was a mockery towards American horror type, but in a really good way, like a really well-made way. So yeah, you kind of like, I think I know what you're saying.
Yeah, but I was going towards a point.
Well, no, I think if it was the point that I think you were going towards, you were saying that maybe his character was purposefully that inept because the movie was making a point of how Norwegians saw Americans.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, true as well. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And actually, the director, I believe, is Norwegian. Magnus Martens is. He's worked on different TV shows, Game of Thrones.
Yeah, he's got a big TV list of television credits.
And as a matter of fact, Carol, who was played by Amrita Acharia, she played Eerie in Game of Thrones.
She's literally my new favorite.
Which season of Game of Thrones was that? Do we know?
I think it was one of the later seasons, but I'm not totally sure.
She's beautiful. Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
Yeah, I hate to be surface level, but I did not buy their relationship.
Neither did I. Neither did we.
No.
Thank you for saying
that was a note as well.
Yep,
like there was.
I don't believe them is the first thing I said. I was just like, I don't believe them. He's like, what? Their relationship? I was like, nope, I don't believe it.
Yeah, it was really uncompatible, whatever the word is. It didn't mesh. It was very odd casting.
Yeah.
Well, they never brought it up in any form at all. Like, all it was he was this guy who met her at a life coaching seminar. What did they call it? I can't remember what they called it.
Happy Vision or Happy Place or
Happy Vision.
That's what it is. Yeah. And see, I didn't even catch that. I didn't even catch the fact that that's where he met her.
Yeah.
I did take all of her little like side tangents every time she would go on one of those Happy Vision things, though. I liked that little side arc for her. I thought that was fun.
Until she finally blows.
Yeah, I did too. And I even though the daughter had kind of an annoying characteristic, I believed the daughter. You know, I believe this girl that looks like they came from Los Angeles or Southern California and is suddenly thrust into this Norwegian countryside where nothing happens except for snow. Because the movie also made fun of Norwegians. Like, let's be clear. It wasn't just against Americans. Like, on the TV, they turn on the TV and it was nothing but skiing and
exactly like Olympics.
I think the first aim was towards Norwegian, like joking Norwegian, and then American.
Yeah. I gotta say, my favorite character was the one that you couldn't remember who he was, Alex, in your 3-minute recap. Tor Age.
I cannot say his name. I was like, how do you say his name? He has a little dot on the top of the A. I was like, Tor Age.
He says it himself, and that's the only reason I know, because he goes, they ask what his name is, he's Tor Age.
I think when he's speaking to one of the elves or something, he's like, my name is Tor Age.
Yeah. Oh, you said it now.
Tor Age, exactly. But yeah, he was my favorite by far.
Yeah, he was a real comedian, I think, in Norway, but his character was so serious to me. There was like nothing comedic about it. In all honesty, I believed him as well.
Well, the deeper you go, the funnier it is.
That's amazing you say that, because I thought his character was very comedic.
Really?
Yeah. Like, he said everything with a straight face, but everything to me was hilarious. Like, I think he wasn't the first one. Who was the one that said the thing about the Kardashians?
The Liv.
Oh yeah, when she pulled them over after the moose attack, which was horrible.
She's gonna go see what Love Actually. She's like just so funny.
Yeah, see the lines for like the dialogue for a lot of the Norwegian characters I thought was funny. That's where the comedy worked for me. And I thought that it balanced out really well. But when it was the American stuff, I just didn't think it was funny.
That's true. I feel like Liv was the comedic relief period, because every time she showed up, it was just so funny. Like everything she said out of her mouth was hilarious.
Yeah, she was the comic relief for sure in a movie that's supposed to be funny.
I know.
Absolutely, yeah. Number one, I felt like the movie took a little bit too long to get to the point where they piss off the barn elf.
Yeah.
Because just a minor recap thing. The barn elf lives in the barn. It got rid of Bill's uncle. Mm-hmm. Oh, and I actually have his name written down, Uncle Eric. So that's the beginning of the movie. The opening of the movie is the barn elf. Eric's trying to burn down the barn, and the barn elf sets him on fire with a flaming tire out of nowhere.
Yeah. Where
did that tire come from?
No idea.
And that's why Bill has inherited the farm, the house, or whatever, and they're there a year later. It's a year after Uncle Eric died. The kid sees the barn elf, and he learns that the barn elf does not like change. It does not like bright lights, and it does not like loud sounds.
Or lutefisk.
We'll get to that. But that wasn't one of the rules. These were the rules that Tor Age said to the kid. I thought that was cool, but then it just took so long to piss the barn elf off. There was like so much story.
I feel like that was like literally the 10 last minutes of the movie was pissing off and getting there.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, Alex. That's the thing. It took so long to get there, and then when it got there, they stayed there so long. It was like 40-something minutes of pissed off elves.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And it was like, I have this all written down. I wrote this. It's just too long. The elves attack the family. The elves kill the policewoman Liv. The elves party while the family's upstairs. Then the family has this bonding conversation, right? And then Bill and Lucas go off to get help. Lucas is a little boy. And then there's a chase scene with Bill and Lucas and the elves. And then there's another bonding conversation, this time between Carol and Nora. And then the elves, they start to fight the elves. And then Nora escapes and leaves Carol there by herself. And then Carol fights elves. And then Nora gets captured by elves. And then we have the entire thing where Bill and Lucas find Tor Age. All three of them, there's a whole conversation. Then all three of them go back to the house. Then they go in the tunnel, go to the whatever the elves' village was. And then that whole scene happens where they get the girls back. And then they go back to the house. And then there's the whole bar scene. It was just so much.
Yeah, no, I think that they literally could have shaved off 20 minutes of the movie and it just would have been tighter. And that's my biggest thing with movies in general, like, it's just length. Unless you're Titanic, you have no right to be over an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah, long. It was a little loose at the end.
And this, like, lately we've been watching like so many like cheap ass like Christmas horror movies that are like an hour and 15 minutes long, you know, an hour and 20 minutes. And they may not be like terrific, but they're enjoyable and entertaining. And I think a big contributing factor is the fact that they're less than an hour and a half long. And I think that if this would have been just a bit shorter, a little, just that tiny thing could have been something.
Certain things that should have been left out, like when they shoot each other with the guns and stuff like that.
Oh God! Like,
which I thought was a perfect family movie. I told Stanley, I was like, this movie is actually for everybody in the family: dads, moms, kids, daughters, everybody except for that one part.
Yeah, that scene with the two elves in the barn, I thought was so out of place, man. It was so horrific, and I didn't think there was anything funny about it. Like, it was so out of place.
And also, were the rules that applied to the elves, did they apply to all the elves or just the one specific elf? Because once they did that turnaround, they were all partying, doing everything that they were totally against, drinking, raging it out, you know, loud music, lights on.
I think it was just that one elf because he was the barn elf.
Yeah.
All the other elves lived in villages. They didn't live in a barn. He lived in a barn, and that was what the mythology was.
So to keep the peace between the elves, it's keep him happy.
Yeah, keep him happy so that he takes care of you on the farm, in your house, whatever, and that he continues to live there happily.
You would notice all these little favors being done throughout the days, like the snow being shoveled, you know, throughout certain things that were just getting done.
The wood being chopped.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's funny. I guess I wasn't paying enough attention to like certain things because I'm like, wait, he lived there alone.
Yeah, no, the kid was giving him cookies, which I did have that question, Stanley. I was like, how did this elf eat when there wasn't anybody living there for a year?
Where was he getting food? Yeah.
Either way, that introduction was so ET to me. Like when ET meets Elliot. And he gives him the skip. What is it? The Reese's Pieces?
Yeah, that's
exactly what it was.
That's a great comparison.
E.T.
I love it when you come up with these like.
It's not Disney, but it's
cute little. Well, no, that's a cute little family comparison because this movie's getting compared to like Gremlins a lot that I read, like Gremlins, Home Alone.
I saw a lot of ET in it, but yeah.
No, I think
a lot of like Short Circuit, wonderful. A lot of like what are those like movies? Like, it was like Short Circuit and Batteries Not Included. You know, like the meeting between the human and this thing that lives in the barn.
Yeah. There's a lot of cute things like that. Yeah.
That's funny because I was only going to bring up Gremlins because of the whole party scene with all the elves getting drunk and partying in the house.
I just said that to you too. I was like, that looks very Gremlins to me. And you're like, when they're partying, I was like, yeah, exactly. Like, only that shot to me was like very Gremlins. You know, they get all crazy and start like swinging off chandeliers and all that shit.
What do you think about Gremlins, by the way? I don't know if I've ever asked you this.
It's one of my favorites ever.
Okay, good. I love it too.
I was obsessed when I was a kid. I had a stuffed Gizmo, stuffed Mogwai. I had probably 3 of them. And yeah, I was obsessed.
We have a Gizmo ornament on the tree somewhere. I don't know.
But even when if you think about it, when the elves were chasing Lucas and Bill, when the elves were chasing Lucas and Bill on the sled, they were throwing saw blades at them, which Stripe shoots saw blades at Billy in Gremlins. So
Oh yeah. You're right.
I thought that was weird. Yeah, that they had saw blades. I was like, you know what? That's really good. But they used every single tool in the shed.
I was going to say anything they could find in the barn, they kind of were just getting their hands on.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that I do kind of like how that one elf ended up with a gun. And again, going back to the commentary on, I can't get over I feel smart that I caught that, and I know I'm not the only one that was like the commentary on Americans being dumb, but like the one elf holding the gun, and then Martin Starr being like, "How is this elf the only one in Norway with a gun?"
Yeah, really.
That's the one time I laughed out loud. I was like,
I didn't. I thought that was the stupidest line because I'm like, you know how he got the gun because the policewoman had the gun. She said she left it at the sled. So what do you mean? How is this the only? Come on, man.
They showed when he actually grabs the gun because they panned the camera to the gun. And we're like, oh shit, the gun. He's gonna grab it, and sure enough, he grabs the gun.
I mean, come on. As soon as she said she left it out of the sled, I knew that the elves were gonna get the gun.
I did not expect her to get it the way she got it, though.
Oh my god, yes. I was just gonna ask you about that, Alex, because you mentioned how it seemed like a family film, except for the gun. But then I was going to remind you that there was one character that had an icicle shoved all the way through his head.
Yeah, but that was probably my favorite of all. Yeah. Question for me. He said you were going to ask, but I was waiting for you to ask me what was my favorite kill, and that was it, literally.
That's later. That's later.
Sorry, what was that before this?
But that was like you were talking about how it was a family film except for the guns.
Yeah, except for that, honestly, I think was the goriest of all the entire movie. Like, just they didn't even what we just saw coming out of the end of snowmobile was horrific, and I thought the splash on the family and them still going on with it, not even ripping their clothes off. It's literally her entire flesh on them, and they're just continuing on.
Their entire flesh.
Like this woman's body is all over you.
He's so passionate with his descriptions.
I did love the head evil elf. I'm going to say that our hero elf, is not super evil. He was just pissed off.
Know him as the main elf is the one that lives in the barn, but then the other big one, which I thought should have been the boss. Yeah, he's super scary, and his voice.
The head elf.
Yeah,
right.
Oh, okay. Head elf.
I think so. I have him in my notes as head elf, and then I have the one in the barn as barn elf in my notes. But I'm sure he's something else
because that's his character description on IBDM is.
IMDb
main elf.
Yeah.
IMDb. Sorry.
IBDM. Who?
I love it. Internet.
Yeah. No,
I don't even know. We're not going to go there.
Yeah. Yeah. I loved how the movie played on Norwegian death metal by having the head evil elf like talking like a death metal singer.
It was totally like that was really horrifying to me. That voice, it's just like, yeah, I don't like it. And to me, even I was just like, oh, he's possessed right away.
Fucking Pizzazu.
Yeah.
What was the comment that Martin Starr made when he was like, maybe he's like an orphan that's dressed up as a Nordic elf going to a Nordic metal concert or something like that.
Yeah.
I thought that maybe I do think this movie. Maybe I do like this movie. I don't know.
I mean, the comedy was done really good. It wasn't one of those annoying, like this is just too annoying to kill. It killed a horror, type of movie.
Well, I don't know if I thought. Oh, we'll get there too. I don't know if I necessarily thought that it was scary, but
no.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great. Yeah. It's like when the Santa Claus is hanging up there with the icicle to his mouth. That's pretty dope. That's pretty scary. When she goes through the snowmobile, that's pretty scary.
Yeah. I guess you're right.
You know what? And there's certain shots too, like when she sees the elf, the daughter Nora, the first time when the elf appears to her when he first gets angry and he's in the house and she sees the reflection, that's pretty freaking scary too. After she pushes the dad down the stairs.
Okay. Yeah.
That was a good jump scare there.
Touche.
Yeah. Look at Scotty. He's like, nope.
I'm just going to say the only part that I thought was very creepy and scary was when the kid first looks out his window at night and he sees the two glowing eyes looking at him from inside the barn. That would mess me up.
Yeah, I thought that all the glowing eyes was really effective.
When they follow Nora in the bushes and they all come out of the bush. Yeah, we see there's more than a dozen eyes staring back at her. That's pretty freaky as well.
Yeah, I'll agree on that. So the first time the eyes are used, you thought
the second time too many eyes. Whatever.
Okay.
Plus, I didn't care about the daughter. Like, yeah, drag her away. I don't care.
She totally had me fooled, though. I really thought she was American up until the last probably 5 minutes. She actually, you can hear her accent come out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I didn't know that anybody. I thought that everybody could have been American. They
She
had
had
great accent work.
Except for the kid, because he just looks like straight up Norwegian with the pink cheeks and the, like the hair, like the blonde hair.
I love it.
I didn't dislike the daughter. I just didn't care. I think the only characters I cared about were the little boy. I liked Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really liked Carol, the mom, and Tor. I liked Tor Age. I also liked Raymond. Oh, the Santa Claus that got killed.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him.
He's so mean looking at the cafe at the beginning of the movie, but then I love the part where Bill asks him to be Santa Claus, and Bill's like, "I was just wondering," and he's like, "You want me to be Santa Claus on Christmas Eve?" Yes, I would. I love being Santa Claus, and I'm just like, "What?"
Right before he gets killed, and he thinks it's the kid, and he's like, "Lucas, come inside. Lucas, it's warm. It's cold out here. Lucas, come inside where it's warm." And he's being so kind to this damn elf, and he just gets killed.
I think that that's probably one of the flaws in the movie, though, is that too many people live.
Yeah, for the small cast that it had.
Yeah, I think that they could have knocked off another. I think the daughter could have died. Or
But it's like Scotty says, it just took too long with the elves, and nobody was dying.
Yeah.
Like, what was really the point of the party in the barn?
It was useless. It was just to piss off the elves, honestly, because
that's all it was.
Party to invite the neighbors, I guess, to know the town, but it was honestly just a prelude to piss off the elves to get us there. I was seriously, I thought and I was hoping that they were going to piss off the elves right then and there, or the elf, and that's where we were going to see a bunch of people die. Like the elf was going to go on a rampage on these people partying in the barn. No, he only pushes the dad down the steps, does that little flash appearance through the reflection, and then the movie continues and goes on.
Yeah, it's interesting to me that it had an R rating. Like if it had like a little bit less gore, like this easily could have been a PG-13 film.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, also the daughter drops more than one F-bomb.
Which solidified an R rating.
Yeah, you can only have one and be PG-13.
I think that's how it is, right? Oh,
yeah. There's one F-bomb in Guardians of the Galaxy Part 3.
And we have a PG-13, right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. It's so wild.
Yeah. I loved that Tor at the end decided to battle the elves by giving them a peace talk.
Yeah.
Oh. And how freaking timely was it that he goes up and he asks them if they have heard of the Oslo Accords between Israel and Palestine.
Oh, I literally looked at him and I was like, dude.
He paused and rewind. He's like, did he really just say that? We're like,
And because at first I was like, wait, did he say that the Americans came to an agreement with Israel and Palestine? Did I hear that right? So I had to rewind it. And no, it was them. It was Norway. They came to one. Okay, it's cool. But yeah, like how weird to hear that.
Exactly.
At this very moment in time, because wow.
And it's crazy that they kept it in. That they filmed it and it was very much finished and recorded and filmed before everything that started happening in the world now.
Yeah.
And then they're going to release this movie and that they're sitting there going like, "Oh my God, do we keep that line in?"
It just makes me wonder if they think that people are actually going to watch this. Like, do they think that people are really going to watch this? Because I mean, it's got an audience. This has a pretty high rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It's got like a 78 or a 79. Like, it's gotten pretty good reviews. It's getting favorable reviews. I have not heard one thing about that.
I feel like it'll be watched because there's so many good movies coming out right now that we just want more, and we'll literally watch this.
Yeah.
Like people will literally watch this movie again.
With that being said, though, people are going to find something to pick apart about it. So it's only a matter of time.
Well, that would be it.
Yeah.
I think we're going to hear more about this movie next year because this movie is still only available for purchase or rental at the time of us recording this. For instance, Andrew and I last year, we watched and reviewed a movie called Christmas Bloody Christmas, which I believe was only, I could be completely wrong, but I feel like it wasn't readily available. Like I feel like you had to buy it or rent it. And now this year it's on Shudder. And people are posting about it and talking about it and seeing it
Yeah, I think that you had to rent it when you guys reviewed it last year, because I rented it last year when you guys reviewed it, and now I just watched it last week and it's on Shudder. So to piggyback off what you just said.
Quick aside, what'd you think?
I didn't love it. It was just too bright. You know, they was just too bright. There was just too much fluorescent for me. Like, I mean,
Did you watch it, Alex?
He wasn't home. I watched it during the day.
Okay, good, because I didn't really care for it, and like everybody that's watching it this year seems to be loving it, and I'm like, okay, great.
There was a lot happening, and it was short. I liked the fact that I got through it very quickly, but yeah.
Well, back to our movie, I did like that at the end. Like the first time I watched this movie, I wasn't sure if I bought the entire barn elf being so mad that he calls in all his friends and then they go so crazy that he goes against them. The second time I bought that more, I accepted that more, because the first time I watched this, I was like, what's the point of all these other elves? I kind of wish it had just been this one barn elf versus the humans. And actually, I wouldn't have minded if he killed some of the family.
I mean, he already killed the uncle.
Yeah, no, I think that I'm on your side for that one too, because at one point there were so many elves and they all look so similar to where I thought that the same elf was getting killed. So whenever they, like one of the family members would attack one elf, I thought they were attacking the same elf repeatedly. And
that's so it's like the peace got broken between that one elf, and he now gets angry and calls the other elves, and it's like, because you got fed fish
over lutefisk.
Yeah, but do you know how bad that tastes?
No, I just know that it pairs well with butter, according to Drop Dead Gorgeous.
I actually hated that scene because, first of all, I rolled my eyes so hard when the dad was eating the porridge, and I was just like, oh God, of course, this guy ruined something else. But then, of all things, I'm sitting here like they have a full house, and I know that they have more food than just lutefisk. The kid couldn't think of anything else to take to the elf than this horrible fish. Like, why would he do that? I just didn't buy that at all. I think that kid, being a friend of the barn elf, would have brought him something sweet or something, you know?
Yeah, and
like cereal. Bring him cereal. You don't have porridge, so bring him some cornflakes or something. Or cornflakes.
Cornflakes?
That's how you say it in Norwegian.
A great Norwegian accent. Man.
If anybody's listening to this in Norwegian, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to offend anybody.
Don't apologize. It's great.
No way.
A+.
But yeah, what did you guys think of? Okay, so I usually talk about cinematography. The cinematographer for this movie was Mika Orasmaa. What'd you guys think? Anything stand out to you?
You were commenting on how pretty the movie looked.
I like how crisp it is. It's a lot of still shots though. Like there's not a lot of like moving around. It's kind of like just one shot of one specific moment, you know, like happening. Like if you're gonna shoot the barn, it's literally just the one shot of the barn, or outside of the barn, you know, or inside of the house.
Yeah, and I really liked like that the nighttime scenes were really nice. Like everything, like it was filtered really nicely. Mm-hmm. I think that was one of the bonuses, probably. Like, again, it's not a bad film, but I think that one of the redeeming qualities would be how pretty it looks. Like,
it's immersive. Kind of like you could feel the chill in the wind when you're watching the movie.
Yeah, like all the Christmas scenes look really, really good. Mm-hmm. Like all the bulbs are really bright and everything looks good. And we watched this in 4K, and I'm glad, because everything just like resonates very beautifully on the screen. So yeah, I think that the cinematographer really did a good job. I'm not familiar with any of the prior work that they did, but I saw Christmas, I felt Christmas, and the soundtrack was good too. I kept thinking like, wow, like they got copyright music for such bangers,
like
dude.
There was such slow moments, but the music was so intense. I was literally at the edge of my seat, like just waiting for something to happen, and it was just the slowest thing just coming out. I'm like, what happened? More elves.
I was just happy to hear just like Christmas songs, like actual Christmas songs that you hear in like all the other like holiday favorite movies.
But the way the movie opens with that one song already, and they're on the road, you know, it already sits you down like, you know, you're gonna get a good movie because the music is good.
Yeah.
You know? So if anything, the music is awesome. You kind of stay still watching the movie because the music keeps you.
Yeah.
I was going to get to the score in a second, but going back to the cinematography first, I was going to say the same thing. I liked it, but did you guys, I don't know if you guys noticed, there's this one shot that both times I watched the movie, it really struck me. And there's a shot of Bill walking from the house out to the barn, and it's a wide shot. And you just see him walking across. And for some reason, that shot is, in my opinion, the most beautiful shot in the entire movie, because it looks like real snow. Like sometimes it looks like digital snow, and other times it looks like real snow falling. That shot was just so crisp and beautiful.
Is this the shot where he's going to go chop the wood?
I think it's after. I can't remember, but I feel like it's more like halfway through the movie.
I think I know what you're talking about. I just don't. I think that those scenes look real. Anything involving the snow for the most part during the day. Mm-hmm. I think like those shots look really good, and then for the most part of the night it looks really good too. But I will say that the part where they're sledding down the hill and they're going away from the elves, that looks really, really terrible.
It's that like the way the moon reflects off the snow, kind of, but you never see the moon.
Like it's got that that green screen CGI effect, but really, really badly. Like that's national. Like that's really awful.
I was gonna say that's the special effects were for them. I mean, the some of the effects were really good, but yeah, the sledding scenes were a little painful.
Yeah, there were some things that they simped out on.
But the music, back to the music, Lasse Enerson. Again, I don't know how you pronounce his name. It's Norwegian. I also thought it was really good. I like the Christmas songs, even though some of them were, to me, the same old Christmas movie Christmas songs. But the score itself by Lasse, I thought was really, really nice. I thought it had some memorable moments.
Yeah, no, I thought that the soundtrack was one of the best parts of it, because it just reminded me of the ending, especially the song that opens Gremlins is what closes this, which I thought was really cute, and I really loved the ending too, with like the exchange between the boy and and I thought that was cute. I don't know, I thought it was cute.
Oh, and I loved that they gave the little I forget, I wrote it down, Nisaland. Where the elves live. I love that they gave him that place to live, and there was the part with the I promise on his heart, and the way that Kiran does that with his eyes. I'm doing it right now in the camera, but nobody else can see it except you.
It cheered me up. Like at the end, I was like, oh,
and then like he just dips out behind the building. Oh, it's the cutest. I thought that.
See, I want to watch movies with Alex, because that would have been awesome to watch him tear up.
You will find like some sort of emotional joy out of everything.
I did really, and I looked down at her dog, and I was like, "That's him. That's totally his life. He finally found his house.
Hold on, one
second. Finally found his home. Honest to God, I was like, I literally started crying. I was just like, "Oh my gosh, Sheriff! Like this is you. Like you finally found a place to live. You're here." Yeah, that was super sweet for me.
Okay, so before we move on to our 3 questions, is there anything else that you guys wrote down, or is there anything else you wanted to mention about the movie?
You know what? I am just glad that you had suggested this, because this is not something that I would have picked out personally to watch, because all the Christmas films that I have been like programming just personally, just to watch, to enjoy, and just for our own podcast, have been really just acquired taste type of movies. You know what I mean? And so this was kind of refreshing in the sense of it's new and it's current, and it was just fun. You know what I mean? There was a fun to it that Jack Frost per se could not deliver. You know, so I had a good time with it, and I think that it was an interesting take on like the whole elf mythology that I haven't seen before. So I'm glad I watched it. Because I just don't think that I would have watched it otherwise. So
allow me to plug your podcast in a roundabout way, because at the beginning of December or end of November, when Andrew and I were kind of talking about what we were going to do, and he was like, I think it was after he picked a Christmas horror story for our last episode. And I told him that I'm going to pick an episode for the episode after that, since it comes out like Christmas or the day after. And I was actually going to pick It's a Wonderful Knife.
Oh, yeah.
But while I was thinking of that movie, I saw a trailer for this one, and suddenly I was torn about which one I wanted to do. So when Andrew got busy and I asked you if one of your Christmas movies was It's a Wonderful Knife, and you said yes, that was perfect because that helped me pick There's Something in the Barn. But now I wish it had been It's a Wonderful Knife because I really like that one.
And I'm so glad you liked it. Everybody that we've talked to has liked it. So I'm really, really glad that you're one of the people that also like it because we freaking love that movie.
It's a fucking good movie, but also I like the fact that we jumped on this wave of these 2023 movies, and this being part of that whole 2023 movie release that's coming out right now with these Christmas films. And this movie actually makes me feel like it's fourth in line to like Thanksgiving Killer. What was it? Totally Killer.
Oh, Totally Killer. Yeah.
The Wonderful Knife. Like this is probably like, it just falls into a series of these movies that are coming out. And I have literally no problem with this movie. I thought it was actually pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like in its own sense of a family film.
Wait, are we back to talking about Something in the Barn?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I was still plugging you guys. I was going to tell everybody out there that your episode before the one that's releasing today is about It's a Wonderful Knife. So go back and listen to the Gory Gays talk about It's a Wonderful Knife.
We don't know how to accept a compliment.
I know.
Let's get to what you're saying about There's Something in the Barn in a second, because that'll go in line with one of our 3 questions.
Perfect.
So let's jump into that.
Who would cross the bridge of death must answer me these questions 3.
Question number 1, and let's go with Alex first since you've already kind of answered it. What did you think was the best kill or death in There's Something in the Barn?
Like I said, to me, my favorite kills in horror movies, especially like Christmas horror movies, have been candy cane kills. So this was the closest kill to a candy cane kill, which is an icicle. And the way that he was just hung, the Santa Claus, which is the neighbor Raymond, when he got killed and hung on the barn, and the way he was just stringed up with the Christmas lights and the icicle coming out of his mouth through the back of his head was perfect for me.
I really liked it when Carol impaled or speared the 2 elves on top of each other during like the elf massacre inside the house. That was my favorite kill. It was very Bay of Blood, Friday the 13th Part 2.
Hey, that's our movie.
Our Friday the 13th Part 2 episode, guys.
That's amazing because my what I thought was the best killer death was Liv, the policewoman with the snow sled. It was so gory and it was so visceral.
Gory.
But so we all picked a different one. I love that.
I was gonna say that I love that we all have something different.
So
funny enough, Stanley, I did not even write down any elf deaths in my death list because I always put like all the kills. I try to write them all down on my notes.
Yeah.
I didn't list any elves because I was so confused as to when they were actually killed.
I wasn't sure when he actually died.
I agree. I felt like the one with the gun was the same exact one. He shot himself, then he shot himself again.
Yeah, and I wrote down a note saying that like, oh, they're all dead. Oh, wait, no, they're not. Like, because I feel like they all just came back to life and were coming back after Carol and Nora again at one point. So I got kind of confused.
Yeah, me too. Hey, let's go to our second question. Alex, did you think There's Something in the Barn was scary?
Not scary enough. No. I don't think so.
Stanley?
No.
Okay. We've already talked about this. I didn't think it was scary either. The eyes in the barn was about as scary as it got to me.
Yeah.
So, okay. And finally, question number 3, guys. Did you have fun with horror?
Absolutely. For my first ride, yes, I did.
I did too. I always do. But yeah, I did. Yeah.
I kind of have fun with horror. I'll be honest. I don't know that I'll watch this one again anytime soon. I say that, but I also didn't like Christmas, Bloody Christmas, and I've been having an urge to rewatch that this year. I don't know. But watching this, honestly, especially the second time I watched it, I just kept thinking I'd rather be watching Gremlins or Krampus.
And see, I have this itch to watch Krampus now. And I know how much I love that one. I think we haven't watched that yet. And I have an itch to watch that because I feel like that's a really healthy blend of like, the deeper you go, the funnier it is, but also that's got that good family drama fright stuff. Like I think it meshes everything really well, and also is kind of scary. And I think the ending of that is so eerie. That's one of my top 5 scary Christmas movies.
I just want to watch Family Vacation.
Christmas Vacation or Vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah, which one?
Wally World. Wally World, come on.
That's awesome.
Well, if it's like you say, Lucas, then there's only one thing you can do.
What's that?
On Christmas Eve, you must place a bowl of porridge in the barn.
Porridge?
Yes, it's a food. Porridge. You make it out of different grains, oat, wheat, corn, rice, and you cook it in milk and water. Porridge. I'm surprised you don't know what porridge is.
I know what porridge is.
Yeah, now you do, because I explained it to you. Anyway, so.
And that was our conversation, our discussion on There's Something in the Barn. Next episode, in fact, in 1 week, because even though we release on Tuesdays, this is coming out on a Monday, but I am going to post this on Tuesday next week, the day after New Year's Eve. And Andrew and I will be back to do our yearly year in review and resolutions episode. And we will be talking about, as always, our favorite movies that were released in 2023, our favorite movies that we watched for the first time that were released before 2023, but that we watched in 2023. I know that's confusing. And then our resolutions, which are the movies that we're hoping to watch next year, both new and previously released. But that'll be next week. Until then, Stanley, Alex, I love you both.
Dude, we love you. Thank you so much for having us.
Likewise, yes.
Thank you so much for being on. This was so exciting because honestly, I know you guys are my friends and I've told you this before, but I honestly, truly love your podcast. I'm not just saying that just because you're my friends. I think you guys are awesome. I think the way you discuss movies with each other is very engaging. And so I really love listening to your podcasts.
Oh, that's really nice of you, man. No, we appreciate it. And we love yours as well. And we mean that. And we love you and Andrew. And, you know, it's really nice to talk to people who love horror movies as much as we do. And, you know, it's nice to get educated and it's nice to learn things. And, you know, horror movies bring people together. And I think that it's just lovely.
It's really weird because, the horror community is so good. Like, I mean, they've embraced me really good, too. And I feel really special being here and doing the podcast now. So, yes, I appreciate you having us on your show as well, or on your podcast.
Yeah. I just all the time, I love thinking back to just how Stanley and I even met. Like, he was just this guy on Twitter that would support us and repost our stuff. And I don't even remember how we started talking.
I don't either.
I know you had Stanny Boy reviews and I would watch it and I thought it was so good. I thought your editing was masterful. And I just had this strange feeling that you would be an amazing guest host. Then we did it and we did, what was it called? Tenebrae. It was a great episode.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we've done a few episodes now and it's fun. It's always fun to come back here because it's just it's a comfortable space and you're always so nice and
it's fun with horror.
Yeah, we always even if the movie's not all that great, and
yeah,
it's always fun, man. We always and I can say we now, like, we are always happy to come back. So thank you for having me.
And you guys will be back. We still have, even though we talked about it way back in October, we are still planning and are going to be doing it soon, our Pet Sematary kind of retrospective. And Pet Sematary 2 is coming up next. And then at some point after that, we'll be doing the remake. And then we'll be talking about Bloodlines. And some of those will be just me and Stanley. Bloodlines for sure will definitely have Alex as well. So I'm looking forward to all those.
It's going to be fun. Yeah, y'all better watch out because Pet Sematary is specifically my ball ground. Y'all, or graveyard.
Your ball ground?
I don't know. Well, I don't know what a ball ground is. Clearly, I'm gay. So,
well, on that note, everybody, thanks for coming out to our ball ground, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your Christmas. If you're listening to this after Christmas, we hope you had a very Merry Christmas or Happy Hannukah or just a Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate. Everybody, we love you.
Yeah, likewise. We do.
Happy New Year's.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
I'm so sorry.
Santa? Santa? They killed him.